And he scored a try on his second debut, so that's positive for him.
Yes, he nearly scored one earlier on, but he couldn't quite hold the ball as he took it out of the air.
Okay, so we've got loads of sort of today breaking news to talk about, and actually you've just spotted a new one pop up whilst we've been doing it. So I'll run through the news stories that have rolled in today whilst today's been rolling on, and then after that you can update us on what's happening over at Castleford and St Helens. So Wakefield have agreed a deal to sign Huddersfield Giants standoff Lee Gaskell on a 2-year deal. The 30-year-old will join up with Trinity at the end of the 2021 season. Gaskell joined the Giants from Bradford Bulls before the 2017 campaign and has made 9 appearances this year. EFC kind of got on this when it was a rumour a few weeks ago, and now it's confirmed. My main question is, where's he going to play?
Yeah.
But we'll find that out in the passage of time. Maybe centre, maybe standoff, maybe fullback. Seems that they've got those positions covered though at Wakefield, so we'll see. St Helens winger Tommy Makinson, the former Golden Boot winner, has signed a 2-year contract extension. The 29-year-old England international's new deal will keep him at the club until the end of the 2024 season. Makinson made his Saints debut against Salford in 2011 and has scored 141 tries in 251 appearances for the club. That's not as good a strike rate as you'd expect from someone who's been top scorer in Super League.
No.
But he's a great player still in the prime of his career, it feels like. So good move for the club. Last time we'll talk about this story, I think and hope. Catalan Dragons have agreed to release dual-code international Israel Folau from his contract, allowing him to resume his career in Australia. 32-year-old homophobic centre has announced his intention to join Queensland-based side Southport Tigers last month. Queensland Rugby League refused to ratify the move because he was still contracted to the Super League club, so hopefully that can now go through and we won't have to talk about him again. Then, Wigan Warriors fullback Bevan French will miss the rest of the 2021 season with a hamstring injury. The 25-year-old has returned to Australia after undergoing surgery. The Warriors have also announced, though, that French has taken up the option in his contract to extend his stay with the club until the end of 2022, which means Wigan will have to wait. Wigan fans like me will have to wait until next year to see our attack again. But it's a real shame when a player who is an absolute shining light in the competition has his season ended by injury, but hopefully we'll all get to see him in Super League again next year at least.
Yeah, can sympathise with that one for you. Shall I give this new one?
Yes. What's happened?
So the Super League fixture between Castleford and St Helens, scheduled for Wednesday, June the 30th, has been cancelled because an unusual range of circumstances have left Castleford unable to field a 17-man squad. In addition to a lengthy injury list among their senior squad, the Tigers have a number of young players with first-team experience unavailable for selection as close contacts of a single COVID-19 positive. And separately, their academy squad have all been advised to isolate as a result of 2 further positive squad tests. The match has been awarded to St Helens with a 24-0 victory because Castleford do not meet the threshold for a postponement under the COVID-19 framework of 7 senior players unavailable as a direct result of positive tests or close contacts.
Right. Well, that quickly changed that intro, and I kind of teased that we might have fewer games to talk about, and we have.
There we go, another one off.
So they've basically issued a list of all the players who are unavailable for selection for this week, and it includes Peter Matautia, who's got a slight groin strain, Michael Shenton, who's got a minor knee injury, Sasaya Feki, who is a biscuit, Jake Truman, who's got his ongoing back problems that he's kept having, Liam Watts, who injured his shoulder last week against Catalans, Paul McShane, who has a slight neck injury that he suffered during the England game. Sorry?
There's lots of slights and minors.
Yeah, there is. Grant Millington's got his knee injury that's kept him out for a few weeks. Oliver Home has fluid around his knee. so he's waiting to be checked over. Chase Blair has a hamstring issue. Alex Foster is another that picked up an injury during the Catalans game, a fractured cheekbone, so that's more legit.
Jackson Neal pulled his hamstring.
Jackson Neal pulled his hamstring. Jesse Senni-Lefeo pulled his hamstring as well.
Greg Eden his hamstring.
There's something going on there, isn't there? Suya Matungi. During the preseason, Matungi suffered a calf injury after rehabbing and getting back to match fitness. He was selected for last week's Combies game and it re-aggravated that calf and will be assessed. That sounds like a minor thing again. O'Brien and Turner have had fitness checks on their injuries, and it looks like Jason Gary is the person who's had to self-isolate their test from his classmate at school. Gosh. It's like something from a war film, isn't it?
Yeah, bodies all around.
Scattered. Well, it's a real shame for that game, because that obviously would have been a nice tease ahead of the Challenge Cup final, which the two sides are going to play in. But it gives both sides more time to prepare for that, so Saints can be... Well, Saints won't have had a game for 3 weeks.
Forever.
Nearly 3 weeks by the time they play Wigan on next Sunday, so they'll be nice and rested to dick us in that one more than they would have done anyway.
Either that or they'll have forgotten how to play.
I doubt it. Saying that, all their players were injured last week, weren't they, apparently? I don't fucking believe that for a second. I think what we're seeing here is clubs are obviously... It's like the playing staff and the coaching staff are reacting to the fixture pile-up by pulling out of fixtures. Rather than... Because you can't... What you can't do is play through an injury, then play 4 days later, then plays 4 days later, then play a cup final a week later, which is probably maybe what's driven some of these minor injuries that we're talking about. If they had a full week to recover after a game, which they were not going to have this week, then maybe they would have treated it differently and they might have been able to try and play through minor injuries like players do all the time all year round. But when it's a congested fixture list as well, it just feels like maybe kind of taking it out of the hands. But this is what the clubs should have been conscious of when they came up with a fixture list, I think.
I think especially when you look at Salford last year, they had the same problem, didn't they? After the cup final, they had to default a match, didn't they? Because they couldn't raise a team.
Yeah, and I think they were like only 1 or 2 short of the COVID or whatever, but they couldn't play the team. Yeah, they had too many injuries.
Yeah, so actually, I think clubs have been a little bit short-sighted in thinking, well, it won't happen to us.
This push for these extra fixtures, I think fans would have been more inclined to attend games anyway if there was a greater scarcity of the fixtures.
I think after last season, people just want to get to games full stop, don't they?
Yeah, but we don't want to see crap games played by half-fit sides that aren't putting their all in because they've got another game to play next week, or in fact having games called off because of it.
Because people are desperate to see anything, that therefore they are happy for it to be, 22 games rather than 26 games, or whatever the decision is.
Yeah, I'm not sure there would have been a backlash from fans. It's the clubs that wanted to think they could make more money. Well, now they're losing fixtures. It doesn't seem to be helping them out in that regard.
No.
And obviously this match won't be replayed. It's been forfeited.
Yeah. Which means that come when you play Saints, you'll have played 12 games to Saints' 9. Sorry, that'll be your 12th game to Saints' 10th, won't it?
More to the point, we'll have played it'll be our 4th game in 10 days or whatever, 11 days, whereas Saints won't have played in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, I know this is slightly going down an alley, but we said that with the squads that were out for our match against Huddersfield, it felt very much like a pre-season friendly, where you're trying out a few new kids.
Yeah.
And, there's just going to be more and more of that. If Cass could have raised 17, then, would that have been the same sort of thing?
Yeah, well, obviously they couldn't anyway because of what seems to be going on with close contacts around their academy side. So
Yeah.
I think it brings into sharper focus the need for new leadership in the sport, and the leadership needs to be strong enough that it's not just dictated to by the club owners. Because I don't actually think the way this has played out in these last 2 weeks and the next probably 5 to 6 weeks is actually going to be beneficial for the clubs in the medium term or the long term, even if they think it might have been better short term financially. I'm not sure how much it was.
No, and let's face it, if you're flicking the channels and you switch it on and it's, two very, very poor quality teams because that's all that's been available in terms of players, are you going to think, oh, I know, I'll go and watch it next year?
No, and there's a curiosity or an interest in watching that kind of game every now and again. But when it feels like you're getting a string of those games, it's not quite the same, is it?
No.
Yeah, but I'm not criticising Castleford for what they've done. I'm criticising Castleford for their role in the same way that I'm criticising the other 11 clubs for letting this be the way it's gone this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully we can come through it and see a much better sort of September, October, and hopefully we still get anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move into the Championship, shall we? A couple of Whitehaven based stories. So we'll start with Whitehaven signing halfback Louis Jouffre from Avignon following the end of the French Elite Championship season. Jouffre is 25, previously made 35 appearances for the Cumbrian club back in the 2015 and 2016 seasons, and has also had spells in the Championship with Batley and Featherstone. A solid signing, I would say, to strengthen their squad this year.
Yeah, definitely. Whitehaven have also announced a number of new board members that will help move the club forward. Following the departure of several board members earlier this month, the club have appointed Lauren Allen, who's been working at the club for several months, as a new director. Allen will be assisted by the club's former general manager, Amanda Hewer, who has returned in an advisory role and will assist the club in meeting its obligations in compliance with the RFL and other bodies.
Well, hopefully the behaviour that's led to the departures is sorted out and the club can move forward, because it's been a bit of a hectic time, not really knowing what's gone on there. It feels like it's been a mess. But there's another line out of Whitehaven that you were mentioning, Sarah, as well.
Yes, so Whitehaven have revealed plans to launch a Rugby League Centre of Excellence in partnership with Hull FC, and it's hoped that this will improve the pathway for talented West Cumbrian players to reach the top flight. A statement released by Whitehaven said the club can announce that after a good number of months of working together, Whitehaven and Hull FC are to form a partnership which will see a Centre of Excellence to be run out of West Cumbria. This will see an opportunity for the area's youth to be part of a development academy side starting in the academic year 2022 to 23. So yeah, at least it's a way of getting those players from over there picked up.
Yeah, because I think that's the way to work with Cumbria, is have the other professional clubs kind of having involvement in the region, rather than expecting the region to be able to put its own fully professional club together. I've said that for a while, so anything that helps with that, I think it is a positive. It seems strange that it's the club that's the furthest spread across the country that's doing it, but
yeah, but
maybe you can bypass the Pennines by going over the top and down.
Yeah.
Sticking in Cumbria but dropping into League One, the leaders of that competition, Barrow, have signed former St Helens, Warrington and Toronto centre Gary Wheeler. Wheeler, who's 31, has been without a club since leaving the Wolfpack by mutual consent in March 2020. A Super League winner with St Helens in 2011, he scored 26... Wait, no. They didn't win the Super League in 2011. They must be in 2014 anyway. Whatever. He won something at Saints apparently. Scored 26 tries and 77 appearances for Saints and Warrington, and also played once for the England Knights. He joins up two with Raiders